It's a new thing I'm trying. Before I say anything, before I do anything, I'm just taking a deep breath, right? Before I say anything, before I do anything, especially if it impacts other people, I'm taking a deep breath. All right. Welcome to the channel. If you're here for the first time, welcome. Right. I'm Marcel Benson, investor, entrepreneur, creative, right? Human. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Today, we divert a little bit from the stock market, right? Y'all know this channel is all about freedom. So I done showed y'all some of my music. I'm talking about my stocks. I'm talking about my picks. I'm talking about my life. I'm talking about, the things that I've experienced. I'm giving you some wisdom, some knowledge. It's going to be a little bit of everything because we're humans. We're not these one-dimensional beings, right? So instead of trying to hyper focus on one thing, I'm sharing my findings. I'm sharing my experience. I'm sharing my life. And hopefully it impacts yours in some way. So today, something that was on my heart was this idea or this concept of knowing better and doing better. Okay? Ignorance is something that can only protect you for so long. And when you know something and you're no longer ignorant and you still are not aligned with that new truth that you've discovered, there is a window before there is some detriment that is on its way, right? There is a window between you knowing something, you discovering a truth, and the time that you have to implement it in your life. Right? When you know something, especially on a cellular level, you feel it in your body, you understand it, it is true to you, it is truth, and you're not implementing it, the consequences are way more severe than they may be to the person who may have been ignorant. I'm not saying remain ignorant because ignorance has its own set of consequences, right? But for people who, are seeking the truth, for people who are learning things throughout life, right? You have certain lessons that tend to, repeat themselves. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you haven't learned your lesson, that consequence gets worse and worse. It gets worse and worse. So if you're somebody that's watching this video and you want to be in alignment, right, with yourself, you want to make sure that you're not just, harboring knowledge and information, but you're actually implementing it, right? Integrating it into your life. I want you to listen up. Now, before we go out and do anything grand in the world, the first place that we must start from for getting knowledge is with ourselves, right? There's a few areas that I think are most important that we learn about ourselves. We learn who we are and where we come from, meaning our lineage, understand who your grandparents were, understand who their parents were, have conversations with people in your family to get that information, right? This is going to tell you on a physical level, like who you are. What is it that the people in your family, are interested in? Because through conversations, through thought process, through energy, that's all been passed down to you in some way, and it's going to inform you in many ways of like what you're dealing with on the physical plane. The second, you want to understand your human design, right? This human design is a mixture of astrology, right, and just like how you are astrologically positioned to use your energy in this world, right? I know there's a lot of people that mean, astrology is not real. There's a lot of really, really strong evidence and information that says otherwise, right? If you studied your human design, I'm trying to tell you, you would start to live your life a little bit differently because you'd be a lot clearer on what your natural strengths are based on when you were born, right? Another thing is astrocartography, right? You want to understand like am I even living in the right place, right? Astrocartography is all about environment. Because of when you're born, there's certain places in this world that are more, you know, I guess fruitful for you. They're better environments for you to grow. You ever been somewhere and you just kind of felt stuck? Right? Energy is a very real thing. I know you can't see energy. Well, some of us can't see it, right? Some of us can. But it is a lot more prevalent than what you think, right? Energy is literally everywhere, and sometimes the energy in a certain place is stagnant, or it may be stagnant to you based off of your unique design, your unique birthday, right? So these things are very, very important to consider. These are I'm giving you guys foundational things because for me, you can, in my opinion, my humble opinion, you cannot go into the world and build anything great until you've built a world within yourself, until you're clear on who you are and you've built yourself up to then go and emit your energy into the world. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's so many examples of people that we clap for every single day. Oh, because they made so much money. Congrats. They've gone and found their way on TV, or people know who they are for whatever reason. We don't even be caring what the reason is. But because this is being pushed to us that this person is important or good or whatever, it's like we think that they've just done such amazing things, and then their home life is collapsing. The people that at home don't love them. You know what I mean? Like they're lost. They don't know who they are. They're doing things that are just completely out of line. You know what I mean? All trying to like shift some sort of feeling because they haven't spent the time like building themselves up internally first. Right? I always say the road to riches is way longer for somebody that has morals and self-knowledge. Because real talk, sometimes on the way to riches, when you're building that self-knowledge, you start to realize you may not even want as much as you thought you wanted. That's a whole nother video, right? But build yourself first. Understand who you are first before you then go out into the world, okay? So we got knowing who you are, your family, lineage, knowing who where you came from, your birthday, knowing your human design, right? Knowing your astrocartography, knowing what environments are the most suitable for your type of energy, right? Understanding how to properly eat as a human being. This is super important, right? When we go out into the world, you know what the world really is? This three-dimensional plane is? We are dealing with the decisions that people make internally every day. You're not dealing with the people because we're all the same. We're all from the same conscious energy, right? One source, we split off. We are all from that same energy. But we are dealing with the decisions and indecisions from different people. So what people chose to eat creates their being. What people choose not to eat creates their being. What people choose to do in terms of their health and wellness creates their being. And a lot of us are not functioning at our full capacity or anywhere near it. Nobody's perfect. But there's so many people that are so far from I like to call them human default settings, right? Human default settings are when we are acting in our most natural state as humans, which is all the high vibrational things because we're from a high consciousness. So loving, caring, all of that stuff, authenticity, feeling confident enough to be ourselves, empathy, compassion, all of these things that are extremely high vibrational, that comes with the human default setting. But when we start to put things that don't belong in our bodies in there, then we start to fall off of that human default setting and we start to take on other characteristics like maybe some of the animals we consume. Whole nother video, right? Some of the process that we consume, some of the spirits that we consume. You understand where I'm going with it? Like all of those things start to take us away from that human default setting. And we become something that we don't really recognize. And in that setting of us, that person that we become that we don't recognize, we go off and do things that are essentially like of that thing that we don't recognize. So we're all over the place. We're doing things that are not connected to our heart space. We're doing things just for money, right? We're not treating people in the way they need to be treated. We're letting fear guide our lives. We're not making decisions based off of our desires and our passions and our strengths and our gifts, right? When you get outside of that human default setting, you start behaving more like an animal or more like some sort of made up entity or some demon or whatever, right? The only way to get back to that human default setting is making sure that you're putting the right things in your body. So again, we go back down the list. Where you're from, your lineage, understand that. That's the knowledge that you need to have before you go out into the world and build something great. Astrocartography, what environment is best for you? Human design, when were you born? Like, what is your unique design? Are you a generator, a manifesting generator? Are you a projector? Right? These are very real things. People that are manifesting generators like myself, they have, a high energy, right? Like a lot of energy to do things and gain energy from motion. While there are other people that may be just manifestors, not just manifestors, but manifestors that may need a little bit more sleep. They may need a little more rest to go and create what they're supposed to create in the world, right? They're projectors who get a lot of energy from their words helping people, right? And when their words feel like they're not being received, that can drain their energy, right? So not knowing this about yourself is kind of setting yourself up for failure in a lot of ways, because again, what I said, that ignorance has a totally different set of consequences. So know yourself, right? Get clear on that. Eat the right food. Know where you come from. Know what environment is best for you. And then you get out there and you start building, right? You start building from a true place, an authentic place. It's so funny. If you guys have really been following my journey, you see that I've gone from, coming from a certain environment to then, going and trying to clean that up and going to school at Morehouse and then trying to overcompensate and go into a white corporate world and then completely losing my identity. And then over time, after, giving up drinking, after giving up, like a lot, certain foods, I'm coming back to that human default setting. And now you're seeing me make music. You're seeing me, I started my watch company. I quit my job 8 years ago, right? I'm getting back to allowing the creator to pay me instead of the matrix, right? I'm getting clear on who I am. And that vibration extends far beyond you could ever see, right? When you're living in your truth and you know who you are and you're moving powerfully, there is nothing that can get in the way of that. There's nothing that can shake that confidence. You're doing it the right way. All right, man, it's always love over here. I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you're new, hit the subscribe button if you want more videos like this. I do something like this maybe once a week. Right, but we also got stocks to talk about. We also got some music to share. So you'll get a mixture of all of it. But at the end, it's all going to come together so beautifully. Okay. Again, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.